Alright guys, today we're going to make some plum brandy. No fermentation, no distillation, just good old fashioned plums macerated in good old fashioned brandy. Now what we're really doing here is we're looking out for the winter months. We're looking ahead, you know? Everything currently, the sun is out, everything's ripening up, everything is fresh as it can get. But what we're thinking is, what about winter? What about when winter comes? What about when it's autumn, when things start dying off? What are we going to be enjoying then? When we can't get fresh ingredients, when things aren't quite growing as juicy, as voluptuous. We're going to make some plum brandy today. So come winter, come what may, we can enjoy it. Hey, how about that? That is organisation. First thing you're going to want is some plums. Now there are a lot of varieties of plums, especially in the UK. Now whatever variety you want to use, you can use. Truth be told, once we put it in the brandy, you don't really taste that much at the end, differing variety to variety. Now the plums I've got are actually a variety which I do not know. They're actually local plums. They come with a good story. I'm going to tell you that story. So I live out here in the suburbs. Now my local pub, it's just 1 minute yonder. So I go to the pub and I'm sitting out, I'm having a drink. I see right at the back fence, there's all these trees and they've got these yellow bulbous balls protruding from the trees. So I go to the landlady and I ask her and I say, what are these marvellous yellow baubles which are hanging from the trees above, blessing such a sunny day? And she tells me these are traditional plums. I got my torch, I got my bag, I got my pie, and I'm just going through the back of the garden. They're all falling off now. When I first seen them, they were yellow like this. Now they're red like this. All falling on the ground. I thought it's now or never. I go around, I'm just scooping them in the bag on a Saturday night, trying to buy people getting drunk, take them all home, wash them. I must look like a right fool, but I tell you what, who's the fool now? I got a bag of plums. So, I tell you this story for a reason. And the reason is, like I said, the flavour doesn't change that much, it doesn't really matter, but what does matter is character. That's what's great about making these kind of infusions, doing these kind of drinks, is that you really want to infuse as much character in there as possible. These plums have been growing on those trees for a long time. They've infused themselves as part of the community. Way back in the day, I bet people would come out and they would pick these all the time. It would have been a really communal thing. So each one of these plums, even though they're fresh this year, holds rich history of the local community. What I'm trying to get across here is, truth be told, you can just go to your local supermarket, go to Asda, go to Aldi, pick up plums. They're going to be much more refined, they're going to be juicier, they're going to be more consistent, probably are going to taste a lot better than these plums. They're very inconsistent, they're very wonky, they differ a lot in colour and texture. It's like a new house, right? New house, everything works perfectly, everything's straight. The doors don't squeak, the floorboards don't squeak, the windows close perfectly. It's great. It's great to live there, but they lack character. For me, I prefer an old house, wonky door frames, squeaky doors, old beams, a little bit of character, a little bit of history. And the same goes for fruit. So if you can get something with a bit of character, with a bit of history, go for that. Here in the UK, we've got chefs all over the country who have perfected the Sunday roast. But I bet your grandma makes the best Sunday roast. And the reason you probably think that is because flavour is up here. It's not in the mouth. It's in your mind. Nostalgia, character has a big impact. These plums pack a lot of that character. So that's what we're going to be using today. Long story aside, let's make some plum brandy. First thing you're going to need is a big jar. Now you want a jar that's got the capacity for about double what you're going to put in, and then some. Then grab your plums. Now the recipe we're going for here, super simple to remember. First start with your brandy. How much brandy are you going to use? How much brandy do you have? Half that, whatever number you get, that's how many plums you're going to use. Half the plums, that's how much sugar you're going to use. Alright, so I've got a litre of brandy. I'm going to use 500 grams of plums. Make sense? So here is 500 grams of plums. We just got to cut those in half, stick them in our jar. Don't worry about things like stones, pips, It's all just going to add that flavour. It's going to add complexities. If you're doing this on a large scale, it might take a while to cut all your plums, so feel free just to muddle them instead. So, 500 grams of plums in the jar. Next thing is to add that sugar. So grab a funnel, make it easier. Half the sugar goes in, which in this case is 250 grams. And then we just gotta add the brandy, which, as I said, 1 litre. Now, note on adding brandy or any spirit, it doesn't have to be the most expensive. This here is probably one of the cheaper brandies. I think it costs like £18 for a litre, which is really good round here. Most brandy connoisseurs or brandy enthusiasts would turn the nose up of this, say it's terrible stuff. And yeah, I'm not going to sit down, pour out a glass with a friend and discuss the intimate complexities of the flavour and the flavours beneath the flavour. No, I'm not going to do that. But using it to infuse something is perfectly fine. We're going to leave this for a long time. We're going to drastically change the flavour of this brandy. So why are we going to use an expensive one? Now, I'm not saying go for the cheapest one, go for something that tastes horrible. That's not going to make the plum brandy taste nice. But if it's cheap and it tastes nice and it tastes like it should, i.e. brandy, go ahead. And there we are, it's that simple. Now, if you want it to be sweeter, you want to make a liqueur, add more sugar. You can also add different types of sugar. I use white sugar because it's flavourless, but you can add demerara sugar if you want a bit of toffee flavour. You can add honey instead if you want something that's more light and more fresh. You can add maple syrup if you want something that's got that mapley flavour. Or you can add things like agave for something a little bit more earthy. You know, it's up to you. You can add less sugar, you can add no sugar, you can add more sugar. Even with the spirit, plums, they go a long way with pretty much any spirit. Bourbon, rum, all kind of dark spirits go without saying, but even white spirits. Plum gin, delicious. So really take some initiative. So, all you want to do now, give it a shake. Cover the lid anyway. Make sure that's covered. Stick a cap in there, stick some cling film, whatever. You're just going to leave it somewhere dark for about 2 months. Intermittently, every now and again, you want to just agitate the liquid inside. And what I mean by that is give it a little shake. Something to get the plums going, something to dissolve that sugar. How much to do this? Whenever you remember. Like I said, the first few days you'll probably do it quite a lot, or just do it until the sugar dissolves anyway. Once you leave it somewhere, just every time you walk past, every time you remember that it's there, give it a shake. In about 2 months, this brownish liquid is going to go a lot more darker, a lot more plum colour, and that's when we're going to strain it off, which perfectly takes us into autumn, winter. One other thing you can do is you can stick some more things in there, vanilla, cinnamon, they go really nice. I'm not going to do this because with this particular batch, I'm going to be making a kind of winter plum cocktail. It's going to be delicious, that's what we're going to do. So in 2 months, I'm going to make another video where I strain this, and I'm going to mix it with some cinnamon, and I'm going to mix up a little cocktail that you can pre-batch and that you can store. It's the kind of cocktail that you're going to do in a big batch and it's going to last years and years. And you can give away for gifts or do what you want. So come back in 2 months when I'm going to be straining this. And when that video comes out, you'll know exactly what this is. You'll have one too. So start your plum brandy now. Start it now. Whenever you see this video, go buy some plums, go buy some brandy. Start your plum brandy, set a reminder, write it on your calendar, put it in your phone, because in 2 months, I'm going to be asking you to retrieve your plum brandy and make a cocktail with me.